Hey everybody, it's another day, beautiful day out at the park. As I thought, the ground has completely dried out here in southern Arizona's near zero humidity, and I'm fixing to go on my camping trip tomorrow. But anyway, this pink thing hanging around my neck is Pepper's leech. I haven't joined the Catholic priesthood. I'm not doing last rites. It's just easier for me to carry it this way and talk to you at the same time and hold the selfie stick and all that stuff. Anyway, what were we going to talk about? So if I were to set out to put together a plan on how to guarantee the election of Donald Trump, it would be to do exactly what Democrats are doing now. In particular, what was done in Colorado in trying to keep him off the ballot in a ridiculous 14th Amendment claim that the Supreme Court's going to throw out in about 30 seconds. I'm not the only one to see this. This is not an original observation by a long shot. Just looking at Pepper, you know that. By now you're used to why I turn. There she is. Right over my shoulder. Anywho, she's so pretty. She's the only one that's actually sane in the whole world as far as I'm concerned. We talk about this all the time, she and I. Anyway, regardless of what you think of Trump, every time they come after him with one more spurious, stupid thing, every prosecution, if you look at it closely, is a very thin prosecution. And I really think there are a lot better people than Donald Trump to be president. And ironically, one of them is the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, who is not behind the stupidity. But, you know, this is what happens, and this is the point of today's little talk, when you forget the four pillars of Stoicism. And if the Trump haters would, and not just them, but anybody who subscribes to a cult is anything that you believe in that you can't tolerate questioned. So, for example, I acknowledge that climate change is real, but I think there's a lot more to talk about it than just that. And when you talk to a climate change activist, they're occultists. They're not even going to discuss it. They don't even want to go down that road. They not only don't want to, if you go to their college campus, they'll throw you off for saying it. Same is true with people when they discuss Trump. I never voted for Trump. I wouldn't vote for Trump. Well, that's not true. I actually think Dave Chappelle got Trump about right. Trump is an honest liar. And weirdly enough, I think to the average person, the average man and woman, not college educated at Ivy Leagues, maybe they went to college, but they went to, Missouri State or something. No denigration. I'm sure Arizona State, Missouri State, Indiana State, Colorado State, take your pick. Any state or university, University of Arizona, whatever. Less pretentious organizations, although they're plenty pretentious here at ASU in Phoenix, let me tell you. Anyway, those of us who are sane, compared to the alternatives, Trump's probably going to win. If I were going to make an easy bet, I'd go on one of those political gambling sites that are still, I think there's one that's still legal for domestic elections, and I'd mortgage the house on Trump. He's just, it doesn't matter at this point. Now, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is, this wouldn't be the case, and Trump wouldn't be such a shoo-in if it were not for the cult not understanding the four basic pillars of Stoicism, which underpins the 1964 plan. And those are courage, justice, moderation, and wisdom. Now, courage is the courage that when you hear, let's say that you're a member of the anti-Trump let's just call it the DRS people, the TRS people, TDS, let's call it TDS. I don't know where I get all these initials. Trump Derangement Syndrome. We'll call it the TDS group. The TDS group, who just hate everything about him, are more than happy to destroy him, or are a part of the mainstream media and mainstream culture that he threatens because he is a disruptor. If you're a believer in those institutions, then you're going to hate him because the guy is, if nothing else, a disruptor. So anywho, people of those groups, if they would have learned, first of all, to have the courage, some of them, it has to dawn on them from time to time, in their quietest thoughts, when they're away from the group and peer pressure isn't caving in on them for how dare you bring up anything, contrary to the party line. I'm positive there are people to whom doubts have occurred that this is the wise thing to do. But that's what herd instinct does. That's why the lemmings all go over the cliff. That's why buffalo will stampede right into a bunch of hunters. It's because once the herd gets going, it's hard to stop, and it takes a lot of courage to stand up and say, even not even to say that maybe we're wrong, but maybe we ought to consider. Pepper, come back here. She's wandering off. Okay, she's back. That is, she's sort of, no, Don't you go there, Pepper. I'm such a tough master. Here she comes. She just has to smell everything. It's all those scent receptors in her incredibly superior nose. Anyway, where was I? So that's number one. Number two, justice. You know, you have to trust. We live in a society run by English common law. English common law, which is where the innocent until proven guilty habeas corpus thing sort of comes from, entirely, and is one of the great gifts that England left behind, or Great Britain, I should rephrase that. I'm sorry, English people. That Great Britain left behind as their empire receded is a gift, and if you don't have faith, once you lose faith in your institutions, you're done. Okay, especially your supposedly apolitical, that's a fly, institutions. And you have to trust that if he's guilty of all these things, you have to just allow things to play out. The third part is moderation. You know, look at the poll numbers, look at his increasing popularity, and ask yourself, are we reacting properly? Because every time we do one of these things, even if we believe in it, even if it's true, even if he is an insurrectionist, we're electing him. And at some point, you have to understand that in the real world, recognizing objective reality, even if you were to somehow convict him in the first round, because you're setting up these trials in places where it's going to be very difficult for him to get a balanced jury, on appeal, by the time it gets to the Supreme Court, Pepper, come on. By the time it gets to the Supreme Court, it's not going to stand. And besides, he'll be president and he'll pardon himself on the federal crimes. Pepper, come. Pepper, no. Pepper, no. Let's go. Terriers, you gotta love them. You gotta, she's coming. There she is. Grudgingly. I mean, when she puts her head down like that and she just is like, nah, anyway. So I just don't want to go into anyone's backyard. Bottom line. So obviously they're not exercising any kind of moderation and wisdom. Let's say that you believe that Trump is the most evil thing on two legs. What would be, in light of all relevant information, critical thinking, Pepper, come. She just wants this, every time I turn away, she's such a sneaky bitch. And I use that term generically as a female dog. Anyway, she's just so sneaky. I love her. I don't know what I'd do without her. Anyway, can't wait to go camping with her this weekend. You're so pretty. Anyway, yeah, we all get stupid when it comes to our dogs, and I don't make any apology for it. And if you're not stupid when it comes to your dog, you don't understand your dog. Anyway, there's no wisdom going on in that camp. So let's ask ourselves, what would be the correct thing to do? What would a Stoic do when faced with a man that, here are the objective facts. He left office a fairly successful president on balance. Some of his programs, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, worked. On the other hand, if you believe he's a dictator and he's the most dangerous thing that ever came to America, and that January 6th was an insurrection, then obviously you want him gone. But you're reading the objective poll numbers, and with every indictment and every accusation, you are simply feeding the inferno that is his growing popularity. Don't forget, at the beginning of this election season, he was trailing Biden by a lot. The whole thing of Biden running for re-election was, hey, I'm the one who can beat Trump. Now Trump's beating him, and the election hasn't even really gotten started yet. Joe is sinking deeper and deeper into dementia. Almost certainly, he'll be replaced by Gavin Newsom after the Super Tuesday primaries, and he'll do an LBJ and call it a day, and he'll endorse Newsom, and I think that fixes in because it's ironic. For people that support freedom, progressives don't seem to trust freedom. They don't seem to trust that the voters will make the right decision. And in a lot of ways I don't too, because of the 19th Amendment. There are a lot of people voting, but not in the way they think. You know, when you allow people to vote for how much they take and they don't pay any taxes at all, as 52% of the American people don't, you're asking for it. It's like asking a thief, how much would you like to steal? Or a mosquito, how much blood would you like to suck? Because those people's relationship with the government is parasitic. But I don't want to digress. In the case of Trump, you want to beat him? Here's my advice. Do what Lao Tzu said at 600 BC, the founder of Taoism. 900, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, 999.999% of the time, the best thing to do about anything is nothing. Just trust time and evolution and system and justice and truth will prevail. You cannot force people to change their perception of their own realities. They have to come to it on their own. And the minute you start to force somebody to do that, all you're going to accomplish is cementing your enemy. That's it for today. Go to the 1964plan.org, the 1964plan.org. I posted a new Substack today. I think you'll find very informative and entertaining at the very least. You can find that link at the 1964plan.org as well. Please donate. Please like this video. Please share this video. All that stuff that people say that I generally don't. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.